419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wheatro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen.
Gretchen DeBacker.
Matt Killam.
It is a mystery guest edition of the 419, and it's my mystery guest. I'm excited to bring them on the program. I'm surprised they haven't been on yet.
I love Wednesdays because we don't have to do any prep.
You're going to want to have done some prep on this one.
Every day's a Wednesday for me. But I will tell you that, Kevin, there's no secret how much I adore you. But this is a bit of a shot at you. Every Wednesday, Kevin says the same joke to me. Is like, I'm excited to see who your mystery guest is. And there's a momentary chill in my
You do? Just to torture him?
Every time.
Because 50% of the time it's actually
Gretchen, you're not a math person. That's not.
33 and a third percent.
There you go. Nailed it. We also have, later in the show, we're going to have the folks from Spectrum Sailing.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is a really cool program. Scott Herman, a guy who's from Toledo, but lives in South Carolina now. Okay. Has developed
bi-coastal, if you consider one of the coasts the Maumee River.
That's right.
I do.
Yeah, and you should.
You should.
And so he's developed this program, and so we're going to have, I know Brandy Boney is here from North Cape Yacht Club to talk about this program, coming to Toledo.
Cool.
I think it's second year this summer.
Awesome.
And so a cool sailing club, sailing program focused for, really designed for kids with autism, kids on the spectrum, hence Spectrum Sailing. So we'll learn more about that program. Super excited about it.
Yeah, I didn't know this, but I learned this through the construction of the Riverwalk. There is a draw to all of us, right? But certainly people that are on the spectrum have autism to water in general. So there's some safety concerns. So inevitably we're going to find out, I bet, that there is education here, and specific programming for people to be inclusive is always a win. And sailing at long stints, at least maybe this is an unfair generalization, seem to be only for a certain set of people, right? So this is, I learned about it this morning. I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah, it'll be good. We were talking before the show about, some of the things that we've learned kind of doing this program. And one of the challenges for us is just getting ready for the day.
The day.
Yeah.
Right? Is like, because, we've now added TV.
Right.
To the day, and so
brutal.
It's like so for Matt.
That's right.
Matt really has changed up what he wears every day.
That's right. Yeah, this is which vest to wear.
Which?
It's not easy.
It seems like you only have one black one.
That's right. That's right.
But you have
Do I get
multiple?
another one? I don't know. That's the thing. Are people sick of seeing it?
Yes.
Well, that's on our
wait,
Twitter
I don't
poll.
know.
So okay. But no, Gretchen and Kevin are both professionals, which again represents a bit of a about face from the prior comments. And Gretchen, we were just commenting on the fact that you are now dressed from now until 9 p.m.
Right.
Which is after my bedtime.
Yes.
But that's a full day,
That is a full day.
Yeah.
And it's a variety of different settings because I am here for some unknown reason, but then I have to go to court, so I have to look borderline professional. Then I have to go to the jail to visit clients, which you don't have to look any kind of way.
Yeah.
And then I have to go to an event, then I have to work on my office. So it's like,
Yeah.
I could wear 7 different things.
Can I ask you guys, are you starting to hit a bit of a wall?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It might have been today.
No. Okay, that's a little too much sharing. But I mean, at what time are you now having to kind of re-up?
Mine is like right before lunchtime. Is
Okay.
I now I used to be able to just blow right through lunch.
Sure.
But now I need the fuel from lunch to keep going.
I find it's like 3 p.m.
All right, let's do this. So we're gonna take a break. When we come back, it'll be my mystery guest. Here's a couple of clues on who it is. See if you can guess it. All right,
we're ready.
They are a former podcast host. Active on social media.
Okay.
They see Toledo differently than any Toledo resident. They're a 20 under 40 honoree and a 40 under 40 honoree.
Is
this
that a
person
thing?
is a former improv troupe partner of yours, both of yours. I almost started a business with this person, and then they just did it themselves. And this is now one place where this person works.
Aaron Canary.
They were the first person I met with after being laid off. They gave me great advice that I 100% didn't listen to. And they are very good with cards. And they teach other people their card tricks.
I don't know anybody that does
I'm so
card
excited
tricks.
about this. Those are your clues. All right, when we come back, we're going to find out who is my mystery guest.
Is it a
We'll be right
magician?
back on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Welcome back into the 419, a mystery guest edition. What?
Says stand by.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, write
That's
that
what I
out.
am by.
It's mystery guest edition of the 419. It's my mystery guest.
Kevin,
I
you
gave you
did
guys
so
a
well.
couple
So
of great
well.
clues.
Yeah.
Which totally hid the fact that it is our good friend, Danny Woodcock.
Danny Woodcock.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'll tell you, though, that the challenge of the hints is guessing wrong
Yeah.
would just be so...
I mean, I thought you were
You
a
didn't
woman.
even take a stab at it.
Yeah, nope.
I didn't give them a
Gretchen
chance.
did.
I
Yeah.
just sit quietly.
I felt really good. I was excited about the clues.
Those are great clues.
I made sure to insert the word works when I was talking about the business that we almost started together, because Danny just took DroneWorks on his own and did his own little thing.
Is this a bitter rivalry thing between the two of you?
No. If he had been waiting for me, he still wouldn't have started this
Still be
company.
waiting, yeah.
So, yeah. No,
And
it's
I'm
a good-
relieved. I will not mention names, but I thought that this was lending into magic, and I was so relieved it wasn't
With
who
the
I-
card tricks?
Yeah.
It's magical.
All right, so I mentioned card tricks,
Yes.
Yeah.
and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's not actual playing cards. You've got some tricks with...
Credit card tricks and traveling and points and first class flights and nice hotels that you don't have to pay cash for, which is very nice.
Very nice.
Well, who is Danny Woodcock? Let's
Yeah.
start from
Yeah, so let's
Let's
start
start
from
there.
the beginning, because you are a unique guest on this program, because this is, I think, the first time that we've had somebody on the program that doesn't currently live in Northwest Ohio.
Yeah. So the reason I'm here, I heard 3 really smart Toledoans started the podcast, and it was great. And then 5 years later, you 3 copied it.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
So I'm a UT grad, a BG grad in 2020 for my
Did we get
MBA.
all 30 of your downloads that you were getting?
We were getting, about 12 at
It
the
was
end.
early.
But
It was
we had
early
52
days for the
episodes.
technology,
Early days.
right?
It was great. I saw an old photo of Kevin with a bow tie in the studio.
Yeah.
That was
Sure.
lovely.
We're on
Okay.
episode 195.
Jeez.
Here,
Well,
so.
you guys did it better.
And with the more episodes, the less quality you have to have.
That's right. That's right.
Graduated from college, moved downtown, joined Epic Toledo, had worked at an ad agency, and then started my own social media for nonprofit agency, if you will. Started doing that for a while, and from that, and being involved in Epic, we started the podcast, Toledo Matters. We started Downtown 419. So the podcast was great. It was like this. It was boosterism, talking about the awesome stuff going on. And I was new to Toledo other than college, so I remember having Joe Napoli in there and why should I at 24 get to talk to him? And he said, the Warehouse District. And I was like, oh, where's that? And he's like, are you kidding me? You live downtown. You can't do this podcast if you don't know that. So I was like, shoot, I need to research
Right.
a little bit more.
Who were the co-hosts on that podcast?
Bob Tucker,
Uh-huh.
RCO Law, and Nathan Lewis.
Okay.
He owned the studio that we worked in, and he,
Great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He, his family, or he and a group of people run a vintage aerial photography company.
Is the podcast still available to view or listen to anywhere?
There are a couple episodes still. We no longer pay for the SoundCloud.
Yeah.
But so we had this 2-episode spinoff. It was called, ironically, The 419. Uh-huh. And it was highly produced. One episode took me 84 hours. Highly produced storytelling.
Just like this one.
In total hours.
We brought in some voice actors. We had different audio engineers doing sound effects. And I was like, this is when I got into the history. So I was telling
was pretty cool.
the Gangster's Paradise history. And yeah.
It was, as Danny mentioned, it was a really well-produced, I cannot imagine, or wouldn't be able to imagine other than you just said it, how long it took to do it. It was
so much fun.
yeah, I bet. And it was really well done, man.
It's like,
But exhausting, I'm sure.
I was working with all my friends, and you look back at, you guys are all creative, maybe. You look back and you see these creative projects, and you're like, wow, that was so much fun. Made $0 doing
Right.
it. But wow, this is something when someone asks me about your accomplishments, those awards he mentioned, great. But like this 15 minutes is so cool to listen
Yeah,
back to.
for sure. And you created it, which
Yeah.
feels good.
One of my clues was that you see Toledo differently than most people who live here. Some of that has to do with the fact that you don't currently live here. But I'm
Yeah.
curious for you, what was the moment, because you called Toledo home for a long time. You came to school here at UT. What was the deciding factor for you to stay here?
For sure. And I still call Toledo home. Like you guys, when I walked in, you said, how long are you home for?
Right.
I don't know if there was a moment. I know when I graduated college, it was like, first off, I'm from a real small rural part of Ohio. So this
Chardon?
was the big city. Yep, Chardon.
Yeah.
So this was the big city. This was a lot. This was different cultures and stuff going on. So this was a lot to take in at the time. There was just so much, there was so much going on and so many people who wanted people to do good in the community that were helping. When I was graduating school, they were like, oh, you're thinking of starting a business? That's great. You should meet so-and-so. You should join this. We had joined Epic Toledo, the Chamber's Young Professional Program, before we even graduated. So we started going to those events. And I think at that age, you start to realize the power in network and networking and having that network and seeing like, from you and I met, Tevin, I was real young right out of college at the United Way's Emerging Leaders thing, and being able to meet with and just casually have drinks with people like that, you're like, why would I give this up? This is great. Is when
And Epic still is running today and is very, very energized, engaged organization. Our friend Riley Runnels runs it.
Yeah,
now.
and when the sales school, sometimes at UT or the business school, will have me back to talk about entrepreneurship or anything like that, and they say like, after college, what did you do? I mentioned that one specifically because it's great for professional, but it's also really great for social networking and just growing whatever you're doing. Yeah.
You use the word entrepreneur. I think everybody who's ever met you would certainly use that word to describe you, not just because you've started a company, but just in kind of how you carry yourself. Sure. Where did that come from? I mean, was family? I mean, was mom or grandma business owners, or?
No, I think it comes from being a really bad employee, first off, and foremost. If someone tells me like, hey, you got to be in this desk chair, I'm not performing well. So I learned in college, like if I could control my schedule, I can be a real good self-starter these hours. And then these hours I need to be meeting with people because I can't do busy work or what have you. And it's that freedom and that flexibility from entrepreneurship that lets me do so many other things with my life. Like come back here for a week. I get to spend a week here, and granted, some of it's work, a lot of it's friends and family.
Sure.
But by having that type of a career, you get those opportunities. It also lets me learn credit card trick points in the middle of the day if I want to.
So where are you living now? Tell us a little bit about your move.
My wife and I lived, first off, to your question earlier, living downtown Toledo was when I started to say, this is home. Like, this is it. I can't imagine anywhere else. And then my wife and I lived in the Hillcrest for a year, and then we bought a house in Westmoreland, which is a hidden gem of a neighborhood.
Absolutely.
We lived there until 2022, and then we moved down to Charleston, South Carolina. We bought that house 5 minutes down the road from her parents. So that's where we're at now. We bought that house, and there was like a 4.5% interest rate at the time, and we were like, wow, this is so expensive. Once this goes down, we'll get that Bartley loft we were talking about. And now it's at like 7.65, so we're still holding out.
Yeah.
But that's where I stay when I come back. I stay at the Bartley. I stay with Mike Noble. We walk around and can get to everything pretty easily.
Sure. Talk about the clients you've had here, kept here, and how you've brought sort of your skill set, or kept your skill set here, and also moved to Carolina.
Because if people don't know Danny's name, certainly, inevitably, anybody that's going to listen to this episode follows one of the channels that you've
Probably,
been
but we don't have to talk about them. This is not a commercial for me, but
we're not lawfully allowed to have commercials on this anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
not
It's it is an important part of your story.
anyhow.
Danny should know the rules because
I literally
he's
just signed a
also
paper.
on the board here
Yes.
at WGTE.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's
You
talk
couldn't have
about.
stopped this from happening?
He's still trying.
Kenny this morning?
Yeah.
So my marketing work. So a lot of what we do, despite what everyone thinks about social media and digital marketing, doesn't happen day of. You're not filming that and putting it out right away. There's a lot of planning and thought that goes into it. So a lot of the reason I'm here now is to fly my drone around and collect that stuff. I have archival footage. I come back probably every other month, have been doing that for 3 years now. And I just have, like, I can go back to my folder and say May 2025. And I will say April, May 2026 and see, okay, we've got this specific greenery is coming in. Or, hey, we had this project and it's underway. Can you show us some progress from that year to this year to this year? So we can start to get some of all of that ready to go. And being in digital marketing, much of what I do is behind these screens. Anyway, it's on my phone. So, you know, during COVID, we learned, hey, you don't have to come into our office to have this meeting. We can talk on the phone. We can Zoom. Kevin, you and I do this frequently during the week. We talk for 15 minutes about clients and 45 minutes about something completely different. But that's how that workflow works. And I think number one, not being from here, I think everyone kind of gives their hometown a tough go.
Sure.
Like if you start to talk to me about my hometown, I'll talk about how cool the Amish area is, but also how annoying the Amish droppings in the
Easy,
street
Danny,
are.
you got a pretty heavy Amish download. That's our target market, so take it easy on that community.
I believe it. They've got great podcasts, listening clips there. But I think Toledo, being your hometown, makes a lot of the marketing for the area especially difficult because it's a big market, and when there is some negativity to be had, a lot of homers, like, we make fun of our hometown.
Sure.
So when me and some of my brands are trying to put on for Toledo or our podcast back in the day, you've got people who are from here who are like, well, this isn't that great. And you're like, I don't know, man. Have you ice skated downtown and grabbed a pizza right after? Because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's right. How do you deal with that and not be immersed yourself in negativity? We have a Wellness Wednesday. No, I mean, sincerely, everyone talks about the cesspool that is social media.
Yep.
Although everyone prescribes to it and has probably already looked on it at least one time today.
Yep.
How do you stay healthy?
Yep.
I mean, it's difficult. You can get pulled down into that.
Very much so.
You work very hard for things that you believe in, as does. Well, actually, that's true of both of you. So
especially during political years.
So,
like, some of my brands, we had not mentioned specific honoring months or holidays because the vitriol came back so negative when you said that.
Sure.
It's not that we didn't support anything any more or less, but we were like, hey, the comments that come back on this are just so bad. Number one, I have a great therapist. He's wonderful.
Sure.
But number two, you got to set some boundaries with these devices, right? So like 5:20 to 7:20, I have this on downtime. I'm cooking dinner. Brittany and I are going to play mahjong or go out and sit back with the dogs and unsubscribe to my own stuff for a little while. But
Danny, when did you turn 85 years old?
you see the grays, man.
Yeah. You were greater than me.
It's funny, when Brittany and I first started dating, I'd want to, like, stay in and not go out and do these big parties. Like with Downtown 419, that nonprofit we started, we threw big rooftop parties and did all this stuff. But then, I don't know, somewhere in having a relationship, getting engaged and married, I want to stay in more and relax. And my wife went to a bar, and some people she was out with were like, yeah, I heard that, Danny Woodcock, he used to go out, but his new girlfriend won't let him go out anymore.
She's like, I'm right here.
They didn't know Brittany was there, and she's like, yeah, I heard that too. I heard he's no fun anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm at home like, hey, it's 8 o'clock.
We can dedicate an entire episode to things I've heard people say about me.
Oh, it was so funny. But you just, like, I know what I think of the area. You can say all the negativity you want. And some of our brands, like, we have people who come to bat for us. One of them, we call them the blank brand mafia, because they'll come in and you say something bad and they're like, listen, actually, you're wrong.
Right.
You shut your mouth, and yeah, we got it going on.
What's the strategy on social media for any brand to engage in those comments? Do you recommend that your clients or individuals do that?
I'm just one marketer. There's a million of us. I will never pretend like I am the one who knows best. But my typical workflow is, if it's negative and constructive, let's talk about it. If it's just purely negative, we're going to ignore that. We're going to try and not feed that energy. If it's positive, great. We'll engage with that, and hopefully that boosts that up, and other people see this brand engages with positive people. So I want that attention. Why don't you engage with me?
How should Gretchen deal with the feedback or notes that Gretchen gets from her mom?
Yeah. Largely negative.
So if it's constructive,
So
ignore it.
that's actually a good strategy.
There's a block button.
Yeah.
You could
just hand her the phone.
Yeah.
So one of the clues that I had given is that, when I had been laid off from a job during COVID, wasn't quite sure what to do. That day, I picked up the phone and called Danny and said, hey, can we go golfing tomorrow? Which I knew was a way to get him to say yes. But while on the golf course, I said, like, I don't, I'm interested in kind of what you've built, how you built it, recommendations. If I'm going to go start my own company, what should I do? And you gave me great advice that I didn't follow, in part because it's just not how I'm wired. But I'm curious how you, from day one, I mean, you mentioned that your phone is on, on silent, do not disturb from 5:20 to 7:20. But like, how do you set those boundaries? How do you keep those boundaries, especially in a world where, social media is 24/7, 365.
It is, and that's a challenge. Your workflow changes, the way you prescribe to it changes. So I'll get up early and do some work 7 to 8 or 7 to 8:30, and then log off for a little bit, have some coffee, have some breakfast, take a walk, or go for a workout. But that definitely changes how things go along. And social media changes. When I started this, it was a lot of photo. So that was point, shoot, click, edit. And now it's a lot of video. So that's a lot more editing. You got to worry about the audio with these microphones, like this one right here. And you got to work really hard to make sure all of that quality looks good and sounds good.
Talk to me a little bit about, and you're not a clinician, right? But you certainly know the market. Talk to me a little bit about the attention span that has changed, even in
so small.
When I remember when video has always been obviously important. We're sort of largely a visual species, but 5-minute video right now is like a Ken Burns documentary.
Only on YouTube. So if you're putting out hour-long podcasts, it's tough.
Sure. Ridiculous. It's absurd.
I stopped listening to you when it came out.
The rule of thumb that I usually use, and that has been an industry standard for a little bit, is you get 1/4 of 1 second to decide if someone's going to stop that scroll and look at what you're doing. And then you have less than 2 seconds for someone to decide if they're going to buy in and watch whatever you get, or they're going to go on. And then it kind of varies. Like you might get 10 more seconds of full attention. You might get a minute if it's a good explainer or a good storyline, but it's that 1/4 of a second and then 2 seconds.
And we're all in the relationship business to some degree, right? We've got a minute left for our first segment. But when you talk about developing a relationship with a user on the other end of the phone, on the other end of a social media channel, what does that relationship and trust look like to you?
Yeah, it has to be authentic and real, and you have to be actually engaging with them. It can't be, it's easy to fall into the trap of, hey, can you post this for our brand and ask for something? But it's when you make a natural friend, a real connection with someone, whether you're commenting on their stuff or hitting them with a DM like, hey, I saw that work. That was really cool. Great job. And it has nothing to do with your business or your brand. I think you have to really try and be a human being and connect with them. It's called social networking for a reason, or social media.
We're talking with Danny Woodcock, my mystery guest for today. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you have done a significant amount of travel in the time that I've known you, international travel, both from a service perspective, but also from just a vacation perspective. I want to talk about Rotary international work, but I also want to talk about some of those credit card tips as well. So we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Danny Woodcock here on the 419.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love CBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end. It's a story, it's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419 powered by WGTE, a mystery guest edition here of the 419. Talking with Danny Woodcock. Danny, so you and I met through service. Continued to work together through Toledo Rotary. I know you've been very active, even to this day, as a member of Toledo Rotary with the International Services Program. Talk to me about why Rotary matters and why you care so much about this work.
Yeah, the long and the short of it is I joined Rotary because I thought it would be good networking, right? Like a lot of people do. And you join a committee. I joined International Services Committee. Mike Noble, the friend that I stay with, who I mentioned earlier, was the chair of that committee at the time. And he said, hey, we need to go to Costa Rica in January for a service conference. And I laughed at him in his face. Costa Rica in January? There's no shot this group is sending me a new member to do this. And they were like, we would love it if a new member could go with our chair of international services. So you get down there. It's beautiful, number one. And number two, we stayed at an Airbnb, and this woman goes, why are two young men here in the middle of January? We're here for Rotary. And she goes, oh, she like dropped everything. Oh my God, Rotary? You need to meet my 18-year-old son. What? Why? You'd be such good influences on him. Ma'am, I'm sorry, you don't know us yet. And she's like, hey, whenever you're done with your stuff today, let me drive you around town. So we got in a car with our Airbnb host in Costa Rica, which I don't know that we recommend. But she drives us into town, and there is a big Rotary plaque in the middle, right? And there is a Rotary like hospital on one end, and there's a water well. And she goes, this was our first clean water well that we had. And you're like, man, this lunch group did all this? That couldn't be us. And then you go I went to this networking event. It was the welcome ceremony, and people were like, Toledo Rotary, thank you for helping us clean this water project or this lake. I think it was Lake Tahoe at the time. Thank you so much for your contribution to our clean water project in Malawi. And I told Kevin at the time, like, you kind of get addicted and dropped real hard on this where, oh my gosh, you can have this impact.
The impact, right.
Where, like here, we do great projects locally, don't get me wrong. Awesome community service projects. Here, very important causes. But when you go to a place that you're driving around and you can tell, like, they don't have running water that's clean to drink. They need to walk to do their laundry a mile or two. They can't get adequate health care, not just vaccines, but like you have a stomach bug, you can't get medicine. And all of a sudden you get the chance to, I know it's playing a small part, but you get a chance to cure that and help with that. I can't swear on this podcast, but holy, is that impactful?
Yeah.
And then I went down to Charleston. I joined their club, and they do great work too. But they don't do international services like Toledo Rotary does. So I called you and Jackie, and I said, hey, please can I come back? I have one purpose in Rotary, and it's this international service, and I want to keep doing it. And they were gracious enough to let me. And
why this is really going to display my ignorance, but so why are not all Rotary chapters created equal? What gives them their focus? Or
well, Toledo Rotary is like the 10th largest in the world right now. So number one, you've got that going for it. And number two, I think, sorry, Kevin, talking out of turn, I think we have invested a long time in international efforts specifically. Like some clubs have an international branch, and they might do an international project here and there. But like we every year try and send people to other countries, other continents, to go to these project fairs and see what's happening and to meet people like we were talking about with social media, to make real friends and connections so that when their projects come up or when we have projects we want to do, we have people that we can collaborate with.
Yeah, it's, I was down in Honduras a couple of years ago, and you talk to people and they, in different cities around Honduras, they know Toledo, Ohio because of Toledo Rotary. And part of that is, a longstanding history of our club of investing in this. Polio, eradication of polio is a major priority of Rotary internationally. And Toledo Rotary was one of the first clubs to make a six-figure gift to support that effort when it first started. So I think there's an expectation, I think, of us as sort of the new generation of Rotary leaders to continue that.
It's like right behind you. You got the four-way test. You got the Rotary book.
We never look behind us. It's a forward-thinking.
But I do because I watch it.
So let me ask you. This is again at the risk of putting you on the spot, Danny. There's a duality to what you just said and your profession. And what I mean by that is, you just lightly touched on something that I think is a universal truth. You have to travel, even across the street sometime. You have to knock on your neighbor's door to get to know them, to care more about them, to make that connection, right? You travel to Honduras, you travel to Costa Rica to understand how people are actually living. I know that's a big part of your travels, immersing yourself in other cultures and things of that variety. How is that a universal truth? And also now that we're claiming to have a connection through our phones in a way that is meaningful. This is not a soapbox. I don't think that Facebook and other things are the sign of the apocalypse is upon us, but it is nonetheless worth examining that we are not an evolved species to the degree that we think we are, and connection is critical for not just making our lives better, but for survival. So how have you chosen to live your life to travel and immerse yourself and also look for impressions on social media? How does this duality of that come together?
It helps when you're overseas to not have service. That's a great way to connect and meet people without this device. When people we're different than what we are on there. If you look at my Instagram, I'm similar to that guy, but I'm not that guy. You got to connect and go out there. And I think on social media, same deal. You got to make friends and meet them in real life too.
I think a lot of people rely on it, but ultimately, at the end of the day, most people I think understand that it's not a replacement.
Yeah.
Or if it is, you're probably not doing well, right? I mean, you need to have contact with actual humans and help actually live a life of service and helping other to be.
And I'll tell you what, I follow a lot of other Rotary clubs. I engage with their stuff, like Lake Atitlan's club in Guatemala. Beautiful lake. We helped clean up the water a little bit. But I didn't meet any of those people like I have met in some of the clubs in Costa Rica or Honduras or other clubs in central Guatemala. And we just don't have that same connection. I comment on everything they post. Great job, good work, would love to be a part of it. But since they don't know me, like I know Kevin, I know the Toledo Rotary Club, but I know Kevin. So if I have a project, I'm gonna call Kevin. I don't necessarily have that with them because our only interaction is through digital media.
So I think you and Matt and I met at Improv. Did you know Danny before that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You did at Pitch and Pour at the Launchpad Incubator when I was doing marketing for those clients. You were the host of it.
That's right.
Yep.
I remember
It's the only time I've gone up on stage or gone anywhere where I was brought on to jock jams, which was not told to me. And it was the
First and last time.
It was like the most non-connective thing ever for Matt Killen to be participating.
But we were in the early days of Glass City Improv. We took the classes together, which was so fun. So good at it. Do you do anything like that now where you're
I'm so happy to say I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Nobody wants to see me on stage. It was fun. It was for me, man.
It was super fun.
Yeah, we had a great time.
And Gretchen refuses to go on stage too, and that's terrible. I don't mind saying it again at this opportunity. It is a loss to the improv community that you don't do it on stage.
Well, now I have to.
Yeah, you should.
My fan demands it.
I'll tell you what, though, it did make me better at my job and connecting with people.
I think that's true.
Even something small like saying and instead of but. Like you learn yes and in improv a lot. If someone would come to me, a client, and say, we want this posted 40 times. Same deal, same graphic, same text, 40 times, because I want to make sure people see it. And I'm like, hey, that's a bad strategy. We actually need to switch that graphic up or switch that text up. Instead of saying, yeah, we can do that, but it might not work, I would say, yes, we can do that. And I think maybe we should try some variations in the message. And
I like that.
For some folks, that works. For others, that strategy of we're going to post this 40 times, 40 texts, 40 same, we're going to kill them with quantity actually works out really well too.
But to your point about connectivity with humans and being around people, I mean, the improv people are similar people, and they're generally a joyful group
100%.
And a goofy group, right? And so when you find that group of people that you can spend time
in all black, joyful,
joyful and goofy.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was.
Had you done any performing prior to improv?
No, I did like the podcast.
Do you sing or do stand up or any like
you hear my voice?
You ever heard our voices except for Kevin?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you can sing.
I can't sing, but
nope.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of your others. Back to some of your other social media content. People that follow your page as I do. This is your personal stuff, both for your travel. You also have a little niche. Well, I'm describing as a niche thing, which is your candy and snack reviews. Which I
mean,
love.
Danny's social media is one of maybe 3 or 4 things,
Yeah.
right? If you follow him on social media, you're either going to see food.
Him cooking. You're a very good cook.
Thanks.
So it's cooking or
no
buying.
one says that about him.
He tries.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
My sourdough.
It's going to be food.
Yep.
It's going to be travel.
Yes.
It's going to be dogs.
Yep.
Or my favorite thing on social media,
The snack reviews.
his grandma.
Yeah. Grandma.
Yeah.
It is
Grandma's
the
great.
best
I
thing
have
on
the
social
privilege of meeting
media.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with her this weekend. She hates the camera on her, but she's so funny.
Do you ever have her test the snacks? Combine the
Grandma's
two.
not adventurous with food.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because snacks and food are only on my stories. I will never post those on my timeline. They're only on the stories. But the brand is, I guess I'm good at branding.
I'm
don't
so
know.
much on Instagram now, only looking at stories anymore.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
We call you guys lurkers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was pre that.
Pre that,
comment.
yeah.
She's been lurking
Yikes.
since she was a kid.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this travel.
Yeah. So my wife lived in Korea and Taiwan before she came here. She was working with the Red Cross when she lived here. That's how we met. When we first started dating, she said, we're going to travel. I like to travel. I want you to. And I had never traveled. We went to Amsterdam and Belgium and Antwerp. It was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It, like Kevin said, it like truly is life-changing. And it sounds so hyperbolic, but just immersing yourself in another culture, even the speed at which people talk, walk, and move, you come back and you're just seeing things differently, and you are different as a person. And then that same year, I went to Costa Rica for Rotary, and that was when we were like, man, travel's expensive. Can we figure out a different way to do this? And I had just opened my first big boy credit card. We ended up using those points the next year to go to China. We were like, this flight is free. This is incredible.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
So were you using, so tell us a little bit about this business. So it's almost like a consultancy, right? Where you can meet with people.
It doesn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Let me be clear.
Yeah.
My Peacock Social, the marketing business, makes most of my income. To Kevin's point earlier, when we talked on the golf course, I told him, I'm not trying to build a multi-million-dollar business. I'm trying to build something I can do with the people I like and make a comfortable living without trying to do too much. So this,
Other than the trying to do too much part, I think that you followed that advice.
That's the piece of it. I mean,
Quit trying so hard.
When I started my consulting company, I instantly went to, how do I scale this, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hired a full-time employee 2 weeks in, and that person for the first 9 months of my company got a paycheck before I did.
Yeah, sure.
And more importantly, got a paycheck before my kids did. And so it was like, well, and so Danny was like, I'm never going to hire
You had your
anybody.
kids working for you?
I wish. Would have been more successful.
I've never hired anyone. I have a couple of partners who help me with stuff, like Josiah Williamson, one of the best, former firefighter, one of the best photographers and videographers around, but the worst Xbox player I've ever played with.
Oh,
you
boy.
had to throw that out.
Calling him
I
out.
did. I told him yesterday I would be doing that.
Yeah.
So
Do you
I'm
want
really
a
happy.
tight shot on you when you do that? You just cut straight in
We'll
on
make a
you?
separate graphic.
Yeah.
for it.
So the points stuff, points playbook is what we called it. A friend of mine was getting married, said, I want to travel. You keep going on these trips. Teach me how. So I did the LLC, told him you don't have to pay, but just give me a testimonial if this works. So we built him a playbook to say, you're going to get these cards and put your expenses for the wedding on this. You're going to get this many points from these cards. With this many points, you can get these flights to Greece, and we can book these couple of hotels, take your pick, while you're in Greece for these 2 weeks. And that was like, for
And it
me,
worked.
It worked. And for me, that's so much fun. If someone just texts me or mentions, like, I want to go to Milan, I'll be like, oh, did you know Emirates flies directly there? It's the only flight to Europe that doesn't connect through the Middle East. You should take
like,
Emirates
what?
out of JFK.
So does every credit card have points?
No.
So you have to choose particular ones?
Chase, Citi, Capital One, and Amex are the big ones. Chase and Amex are the big ones by far. Like, if we were to open my wallet, you'll see a bunch of Chase and Amex
And
cards.
you can get points that quickly that you can, because I think that the common belief is, at least certainly was my belief, is that it just takes so long to get the points, and
does.
then you
If
don't
you're-
really get the value.
If you're only using one card.
Okay.
So, like, the secret of this industry is, and the people will talk about it, you open multiple cards a year. Like, I probably have 25 credit cards, right? And our generation, lumping us all together, you're welcome.
It's very
Thank you.
That's right.
Despite my grace, our generation treats credit cards more like debit cards, right?
Yeah.
We're not carrying balances. So this type of a thing, if I tell someone who's in a generation or two older than me, that this
they
is
think
the
it was
playbook.
dangerous, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I just did a seminar last week, and a couple people came up after and said, nobody's doing this. And I had to tell them, there are people who make their whole living doing this and telling other people to do it. I just do it for fun and help a couple of people every year. So we open probably 3 or 4 credit cards a year, and each of those has anywhere from a 60,000 to I just got 200,000 points with my dog's vet bill for your sign-up bonus. Once you hit that sign-up bonus, wow, I've got 200,000 points. It would take me $200,000 in spend alone, everyday spend, to get that versus the sign-up bonus.
This is the first cogent thing I've heard that makes me want to have a dog.
Well, you already have a dog, though.
And then on the flip side of that, it's how you spend them. So most people go to Amex Travel or Chase Travel and spend your points in there. But if you transfer those points to a United Airlines instead of spending them in Chase, at the seminar I showed a flight from DC to Munich. Same flight, business class, same hours, 80,000 points on United, 672 on Chase, and 621 on Amex. Just because obviously United values United miles more than we value Chase and Amex points. So if you just take a few extra steps and transfer those, you usually get more bang for the buck.
What's your next big trip that you're going to be taking on your points?
So we were supposed to go to Peru and Chile last year, but our dog started getting sick, so we...
Sorry, Danny.
That's okay. He has a pool in his backyard.
Yeah.
He lives a very great life, but he has epilepsy, so occasionally he has seizures. We haven't figured out his rhythm yet. Once we know that, okay, he's going to have, let's say it's 2 a month, whatever it is when he gets adjusted to the meds, we'll be comfortable to go. And we've been eyeing going back to Korea.
Nice.
Like of all my travels, Japan, #1, best place I've been.
Japan is
for
on
me.
my bucket list.
Oh, it's so nice. The food is so good. And plug for Balanced Grill's Japanese egg salad sandwich, because when I was over there, I was eating those left and right, and then PK said, hey, come try these. And I had one yesterday.
That
I can't wait to have one again.
It's ridiculous.
All right, we got a rapid fire. It's now time for Gretchen's Wacky Quiz.
Can you help us market this quiz better?
I'm a little disappointed because actually, Kevin, I made a jingle for this.
You did.
That's right.
You did, and we haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
4 rapid fire questions from me.
Go.
Gretchen asks you to describe Toledo in 1 word, and you and Matt will list the 9 best things in Toledo. Question number 1, what's the spiciest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, I don't mess with spice for the most part. But when we were in China, we had a set menu, and Brittany loved it. And they just kept delivering us Szechuan spice foods.
Yeah.
We didn't speak Chinese, so we didn't really know what it was.
When you saw those peppers in there.
Oh my gosh, did it burn so I'd take half a bite of each plate, and she loved it. So it was this Szechuan set menu thing.
Yikes.
When do you think people will live on other planets?
Never.
Okay.
What's a song that describes your life right now?
Well, Ella Langley, Be Her.
What's something you're grateful for?
You guys.
Yeah, all right.
You guys,
Thanks, Danny. What's the 1 word you would use to describe the city of Toledo?
Underappreciated, no doubt. Even people that live here now and that visit here, you start to see, if you look for it, man, there is so much cool stuff to do and find and see. If you go look at
Okay, Danny, we got to cut you off there. We got 9 things. Come on, brother.
9 things. Number 1, the parks, specifically Glass City Riverwalk and Wildwood. Jeez,
okay, so
you guys
Metro
are
Parks.
speeding me up.
Yep.
But not just the Metro Parks, Ottawa Park too, because Ottawa Park is number 2. The golf course at Ottawa Park specifically. But number 3, the bike trails that go through Ottawa and Germain. Yeah. Those also connect over to Willie's Overland as well.
City parks. Keep going.
Downtown Toledo. We used to call it our concrete jungle. We could do so much and get around so easily, and there's so much great stuff to do. Now we're going food. The tacos at San Marcos.
San Marcos,
my gosh.
love it.
Balanced Grill
Balance,
as a whole.
yep, and love PK.
The pizza. Stubborn Brothers, M. Osteria.
Love it.
Pizza Cat. You get so many things.
Pizza Cat, sneaky
Don't
fave.
leave out the garden.
The garden,
The garden's pretty good too, but those are my 3 favorites.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 3 left. Let's go.
I got 3 left. The access of everything. Like there's no congestion here. The traffic is pretty easy to get around.
All right.
The affordability.
My
Everyone
man.
doesn't like to talk about that, but wow, is it great.
Closing was strong. What's the last thing?
Danny Woodcock, 1 more.
You guys.
No,
Again, that was a suck
double
up, and we
dip,
appreciate
and we'll
it.
take
My
it.
friend
We need-
Brady Van Winkle.
Yes, done and done.
Danny Woodcock, thank you so much. You get the award for farthest travel.
That's
to
right.
be on
But he
the
got points for it.
program. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. When we come back, we will talk with another organization out of Charleston, South Carolina, because Why not
It's a
spend the
theme.
entire day in South Carolina?
That's right. And I wish we were.
Spectrum Sailing coming to Toledo this summer. We'll talk more about it on the other side of the break here on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. There's so many cool things happening around Toledo this summer. One of them, a program coming back to downtown Toledo, is Spectrum Sailing. We're joined now by Chris Offenberg and Brandy Boney. Thank you so much for being here. Chris, let's start with you. Talk to me about what is Spectrum Sailing and how did you get involved?
So Spectrum Sailing is the only national sailing camp in the country. We're currently in 14 cities this year, expanding to 2 more cities next year. It was founded by one of my best friends, Scott Herman. He lives in Charleston, South Carolina, but he learned how to sail here in Toledo. So when he started doing this camp outside of Charleston, one place he wanted to definitely be in is Toledo, and he'll always have a camp in Toledo as long as he's running the program. So he founded it because when he tried to get his son into sailing camp in Charleston, as soon as people heard the word autism, they did not allow him to be in the camp. So he said, I need to do something where my son and other kids can be involved in a sailing camp. And once it worked well in Charleston for a few years, he decided to take it on the road. And so Toledo and Chicago were the first 2 camps outside of Charleston. And he invited me to come along because we've known each other for so long. I'm an educator and have summers off, so I was able to help him in the 2 northern cities that he goes to. So I've kind of been a partner all along since then at volunteering at several of the camps in the summer.
Educator to what capacity?
I teach 2nd grade.
Yeah, all
Yes.
right. That's when I peaked. Yeah. You're making meaningful positions in people's lives, I can tell you.
Brandy, talk to me about how you got involved. You're with North Cape Yacht Club.
I am. I run the Adult Learn to Sail program at North Cape Yacht Club, and I'm also an educator. And so when I heard that the program was coming to North Cape, I got involved as a volunteer in the first year. And then since then, I've kind of been the liaison and helped with setup and volunteers and getting all the ducks in a row, if you will. But it's just such an amazing program because it's built specifically with autistic students in mind.
Inclusion in mind.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And sailing is frequently seen as a really exclusive sport, and it doesn't have to be.
Sure.
So it's really exciting to see the kids and also to see the adults, the parents.
Yeah.
Great
point.
That's amazing. It's an amazing part of what we do.
Tell us about what the camp consists of. So what would the kids or young adults be experiencing every day at the camp?
So every day when we come in, the first thing we focus on is getting settled in, practicing tying knots. We learn a new knot every day. All knots that are used a lot in sailing, so very useful knots. We also do check out the weather, make sure what's the weather going to be like. Why is it important that we need to know about the weather going out on the lake? And then each day they learn a different point of the sailing, the sailing aspect of everything. So the technical stuff about sailing. So one day might be points of sail. Where do we have to have our sail when the wind's coming from a certain direction? And then by day 3, typically these kids are the ones captaining the boat on their own. There are the adults on the boat with them. There's always a sailing instructor and an autism instructor with them, but the kids are the ones doing all the work by day 3.
This is a program that's designed certainly for kids with autism in mind, but is this camp exclusively for kids with autism?
This camp is, yes.
Talk to me a little bit about all parents are neurotic. I'm certainly an example of that, and a helicopter parent to a large degree. But talk a little bit about safety and the duality with water and autism.
So we, our ratio is 8 to 10, 8 adults to 10 kids.
That's great.
In any of our programming space.
That's great.
Especially when we're on the water.
Yeah.
And we also have online training for all of our volunteers before they can be volunteering at our camps. A lot of our volunteers, now that we've been in cities multiple times, are return volunteers.
Sure.
And so when they invite their peers out, their friends out, they say, this is how we do it, this is why we do it, and then they say, here's the training you need to be a part of in order to do that. So
back me up a little bit. How did the sailing bug hook the two of you? You're from a long list of merchant marines, or what is? Tell me how you got when did you start getting into this?
My husband and I actually took the Adult Learn to Sail class that I now run at North Cape in 2020. It was our pandemic activity. We figured we'll go out and, you're outside and that sort of thing. My husband wanted to learn to sail for a really long time. I thought, okay, we'll go out, I'll throw up. I won't ever have to hear about this ever again.
Sure. Yeah.
I did not throw up.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
A lot of your dates, is this the conversation you have with your husband? Is it been on your vomiting?
Let me go out, I'm going to puke, and then we'll go home and do something different.
This is a 40% vomit percent. Yeah.
It was his dream to learn to sail, and I was like, rah.
Sure.
I'm not altogether that interested in that.
Yeah, I'm picking up on that.
Yeah, but then once we did it, I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we bought a boat that fall. I always thought that sailing was for people with more money than sense. And
God, I wish I could be one of those.
I know, me too. Wouldn't that be great?
Glorious. Yeah. Well, you are certainly the embodiment of there's no zealot like a convert. So that's wonderful. And how about you?
So I became interested in sailing when Scott Herman called me and said, will you come help me with sailing camp?
Yeah.
And so I tell the kids and the parents every year, I'm learning again this week with your kids. I get to go 3 times a year, which I'm fortunate.
Yeah.
I do Toledo, Chicago, and now we added Detroit last year. So I'm excited that I get to, like I said, the camps in the north when the weather's warm. But I kind of relearn sailing every time.
Sure.
I'm more of the kid specialist in the classroom and on the boats with the kids, which we need both. So I'm glad to be along for this with Scott.
Yeah.
Why does sailing matter?
Sailing matters specifically to our camp because the water has a very calming effect for a lot of kids on the spectrum. We've had stories where families say, before camp, they were never willing to try this activity. Before camp, they didn't try this activity, but because of camp, the afternoon after camp ended, we were able to try a few different things. We've had kids from the knot tying experience tie their shoes for the first time on their own.
Oh my gosh, what a wonderful story.
We've had kids, because of the sense of balance that you get from being on the water, learn how to ride a bike for the first time after they attend our camps for 3 days. So it's really the soothing of the water and the rolling that is important to the kids.
Yeah, can you expand a little bit more on that? Like, what are some of the other effects that you're hearing from families after
the most amazing one I ever saw was year 1 in Chicago. Scott had asked me to do some interview pieces because we didn't have anything professional like this set up. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. Got my little tripod. I was talking to a mom, and all of a sudden the mom is staring behind me at the lawn and almost crying. And I said, what's happening? She said, my son has never walked on grass in bare feet. He's afraid of grass usually, and I just watched him walk from the water across into the clubhouse without any shoes on, and he's never done that before in his life. So his sensory overload was soothed by being out on the water.
Yeah, certainly overshoots Barf and Barney over here vomiting in the parking lot.
Radio.
Tell me about this. There's certainly bravery in what you did too. I mean, it wasn't just non-interest, but now why North Cape Yacht Club, and do you have a sailing adventure in mind for you and your husband?
Well, my husband would like to retire to a boat. I don't think even a large boat will be.
No, he's gone too far.
Yeah, As much as I love sailing, I don't know that I can live on 40 feet of boat.
What about if you each had your own boat?
Oh, that's not a bad plan.
Offer it up.
There
See
we
what
go.
happens.
Gretchen is a problem solver on the show.
We've got this. We've got some plans happening here.
Speaking of plans, you have talk to me about the summer calendar. You've got some events or some things coming up
in Toledo. Go ahead.
Let's do it.
Sure. Well, the camp is from June 9th through 11th, and the application for sailors is still open. It will be open through May 9th, so just for a little while longer.
Where do we find it?
You find it at spectrumsailing.org.
Okay, spectrumsailing.org, got it.
Yep. And so that's still open, as well as the volunteer, also on the same page. If folks are interested in volunteering, if folks wanted to volunteer and they think, I've never been on a boat, I don't know that that's really my cup of tea. Don't worry, we can find other things for folks to do, not a problem.
Awesome.
How many kids participate in the camp?
Good question.
So there's a morning and afternoon session, so typically 10 to 12 kids in the morning and then 10 to 12 kids in the afternoon.
Great.
It is all by lottery, so if you get your name in by May 9th, there is no charge for any kid who participates in our camps.
Great.
And then it's by lottery that we choose who's able to participate.
Yeah, good for you both.
People want more information about the camp, where can they find it?
SpectrumSailing.org.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here.
So
So
much.
interesting.
Of course, thank you
I
for
just
having
found out about
us.
this morning. I just, good for the two of you. I know you're not in it for accolades, but I hope you're so proud of this. You should be.
Thank you, we absolutely
It's
are.
wonderful.
All right. When we
Well,
come
don't
back,
overdo it.
we'll wrap up this surprise guest edition of the 419, powered by WGTE.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertain, inform, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Welcome back in to the 419 as we wrap up our mystery guest edition.
Good guest.
Yeah, just
Yes.
guests.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure there were 3 S's there.
Yeah, sure.
Chris and Brandy,
my
the Spectrum
gosh.
Sailing Program is so cool.
So smart
When I
to
first
do.
saw this morning, for those of you who don't know, we come in at any time. It's not necessarily in the morning. And it said
Good
Spectrum
cover.
Sailing. I was like, this can't possibly be sailing for kids that are on the spectrum. And of course it is. And I knew a little bit about the water component of it from my day job. This is an incredibly cool thing. And then it goes to show this show does uncover things even for us that either we should know about or things are happening here. And this is just a great job, Kevin.
Yeah, there's so many great things that are
Yes.
happening, and it just so happened to work out that there's a Charleston, South Carolina connection to both of our guests.
It's the theme of the show.
today.
Yeah.
That's
Take
exactly
that,
right.
own it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I joked with Danny that we need to visit South Carolina to be a sponsor.
They do
of
need to
this
be a
episode.
sponsor.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I don't want you to visit South Carolina because Toledo's a great place.
That's right.
And you should stay right here all summer long because we've got great
the
programs
rest
like
of your life.
That's exactly right. Danny Woodcock was great.
Yes.
A good friend, good person, and somebody that certainly I've looked up to. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, and 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects channel 30.4. Of course, online 24/7, 365 at WGTE.org/the419, or download the new and improved WGTE app. It's the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.